Well, here we are again at the beginning of the Torah. It's Parshas Breishis, in the beginning. The Torah tells us that when God was done creating the world, he looked at it and he said it was tov ma'od, very good. Some might say perfect. And yet, by the end of the Parsha, the world was in disaster mode. It was just before, and the problems were now rampant that led to the flood and the destruction. And God commented that he regretted making the world. And man was like evil in his heart from youth. How do these two sentences work together in the same book? And without getting into the issues of free will and this and that, we can say there's a contradiction in the basic meaning of the Torah that needs to be explained. And that is enhanced by the remarks of the sages that make it harder to understand. They say Tov is the good inclination, and Tov is the good inclination, and Ma'od is the evil inclination. And how can it be that God looked at the world and said it was Tov Ma'od if there was in fact an evil inclination to begin with, which was symbolized by the snake? We don't really understand this. It's beyond our way to understand what the world was like originally. But the metaphor that's represented by the story, not even getting into the issue of its historical truth at this point or not, is that the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, was outside of man, like the snake was outside of Adam and Chava. And choosing between right and wrong was really a battle between you, who were all Yetzer Tov, and him, the Yetzer Hara, the snake. He was outside of you. It was clear to see. And there was still room for intellectual mistakes. And that's really what the essence of the mistake of Adam and Chava was about. But in the meantime, once they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, so knowledge means connected to something. Like knowledge is the way we describe intimacy. When you know someone, you're mixed up with them. You're extremely close to them. You become one and the same. And when they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil became mixed up inside of them instead of external. And the problem of battling the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, is much more difficult, because now instead of it's someone else talking, it's you talking, and you hear the little voice inside of you is saying, I want this and I want that, and you have a much harder time controlling it. And now that same inclination that was outside is inside, and it's in the heart from man, from, we could say, almost the beginning, from the first moments of history, when mankind chose to corrupt the very good world that God gave man, where Tov could have easily have beaten Yetzer Hara. And in their attempt to figure out a better way to challenge themselves and to do more of what God wanted, they ended up doing less of what he wanted, and sent the world spiraling down. And our job with Torah is to figure out how to use the knowledge of right and wrong that God gives us in the Torah to put the Yetzer Hara outside of us once again and return ourselves to the state of spiritual, what we could call perfection, maybe quote unquote, that existed in the Garden of Eden before the sin. Have a great Shabbos.